Yo bro, welcome to my stream, good to see you here. Right, let's read. Pepper shotguns are only effective at short range. Right, what do we have here? Systems Alliance military jargon. Ashore, when a ship's crew leaves the vessel, they are ashore. Though normally used regarding planets, it can refer to boarding a space station. Away, when a ship releases the equipment tethering it to a space station or surface dock, it is away. Aye, the proper way to acknowledge an order. If told to attack, the correct response is aye, sir. If asked, are you proud to be a Marine, the correct response is yes, sir. ASAP, pronounced ASAP, an acronym of as soon as possible. Belay, stop and or cease. Bridge, the navigation center of a spacecraft where the steering is done. Captain, man, are they sure the steering is done? It's a helm, supposedly. Breaches where the command control. Alright. Captain's mast, non-judicial disciplinary proceedings by unit commanders. TIC, Combat Information Center, the command center of a spacecraft. The CIC is filled with sensors displays to make sense out of the chaos of combat. DC Damage Control, the containment and repair of damage to a spacecraft. ECM, electronic countermeasures used to avoid enemy sensors from passive emissions masking to active jamming. EVA, extravehicular activity, time spent in a pressure suit outside of a vehicle, spacecraft or station. Flank, the flank is the side of military formation. Since the soldiers are facing elsewhere, an enemy that can attack from the flank can often turn it or roll it up. FNG, freaking new guy. A derivative term for inexperienced personnel. Groundside, the surface of a planet. Helmsman, the crew member who pilots a spacecraft. LiDAR, light amplified detection and ranging, an active sensor that bounces lasers off an object to determine its bearing and distance. LiDAR has sufficient resolution that the data can be reconstructed into an image. Shore party, spacecraft crew sent ashore on official business. Silent running, an old submariner's term used aboard the Normandy to denote when stealth systems are active. SITREP, abbreviation of Situation Report, an evaluation of the current military situation. Spacer, someone who has spent most of their life in space. EXO, executive officer, the second in command of an Alliance warship. The EXO is responsible for administrative and personnel matters. Right, let's go and change the soundtrack. We'll go to the Citadel. After all, we've got a quest there.
Come on, let me in.
The music was still on while the ship was undocking. Oh wait. Right, sniper headshot damage. M920 Kane. Sniper headshot damage. Sniper rifles deal plus 50% headshot damage. This bonus affects the entire squad. Normally, while this technology is normally used to compensate for wind and recoil, it was adapted to slightly deflect rounds to strike a more vital part of an enemy's head. Platinum required 25,000. Fully upgraded weapon. What we fully upgraded the sniper rifle? Biotic duration. Bioamp upgrade. Squad bonus plus 20% biotic power duration. Oh, and more clowning. What else? Heavy skiing wave. Shepard gets plus 30% health. Palladium required. And then heavy bone weave. Shepard takes 50% less damage from melee attack. Like heavy muscle weave, Shepard's melee attack is now more powerful. Pepper boxing. Retrain powers. Advanced training allows Shepard to reallocate points to powers. No additional points are granted. New heavy weapon. The effectiveness and efficiency of Mass Effect-based weapon technology has rendered large-scale deployment of highly explosive weaponry all but obsolete in infantry weapons. Normandy scientists have prototyped a modified version of traditional high-explosive rounds that is applied to a 25-gram slug. When accelerated to 5 km per second, the round is devastating. Though a technically inaccurate label, this prototype weapon is nicknamed the Nuke Launcher, and its high explosive matrix generates an archetypal mushroom cloud in impact. Inflicts high damage with a large area of effect, very effective against armor, shields and barriers. Alright, let's go to the Citadel. We were a bit low on credits.
No messages for you, Commander.
Of course no messages, I don't have any money. Right, who are we going to take with us? Probably you. What Garrus? Taking Jesse Kuwait.
I thought it might be nice to come back here and see how it's changed, but it's just like it was. Same dirty streets, same unrepentant scavengers, same revolving door prisons. Being security here is a terrible job. This is exactly why I left.
I'm sorry, sir, but I'll need you to remove anybody.
An independent inquiry is investigating a group known as Cerberus in light of charges made by one Corporal Toombs and testimony by an apparent Cerberus scientist. A researcher known only as Dr. Wayne has been promised immunity and has suggested Cerberus may also be tied. The wreckage of the freighter Tur-Alan was found on an uncolonized planet in the Dranik system. Salvage teams reported no survivors.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Haven't seen a weapon like that in ages. I was working with the Grim Angels, a small outfit that saw action in the Verge. Came up against some Krogan, all armed to the teeth. Well, all except the Battlemaster. He came at us with one of those little pea shooters. Killed half my squad. Damn good weapon.
The Thistle Alliance Parliamentary Subcommittee for Transhuman Studies has a...
You know what's good? Alliance Corsair. The battles are pretty realistic, but it's still fun. And you can install it on an Omni.
Alright, there's a good spot to read some more encyclopedia. Systems Alliance military ranks. The Alliance uses a modified version of the ranking system that has been used for hundreds of years. Soldiers are classified into rank and file enlisted personnel, experienced non-commissioned officers, and COs and specially trained officers. The divide between naval personnel and ground forces Marines is small. Ground units are a specialized branch of the fleet, just as fighter squadrons are. This unity of command is imposed by the futility of fighting without control of orbit. Without the Navy, any army is pointless. The Marines, as a matter of pride, maintain some of their traditional rank titles. For example, Marines have privates and corporals instead of servicemen. In ascending order of responsibility, the ranks of the Alliance are enlisted, servicemen 3rd class, private 2nd class, servicemen 2nd class, private 1st class, servicemen 1st class, corporal. NCOs, service chief, gunnery chief, operations chief. Officers: 2nd lieutenant, 1st lieutenant, staff lieutenant, lieutenant commander, staff commander, captain, major, rear admiral, general, admiral, fleet admiral. Systems Alliance in 7. The Alliance Military Vocational Code system classifies the career path of all servant personnel. The MVC consists of one letter and one number. A soldier's MVC indicates proficiency, not rank. The letter notes career path. The number indicates level of experience, as indicated by service record, technical scores and commendations. All 26 letters are used. The numbers run from 1 to 7 and is the letter code for Special Forces personnel. Terra Firma Party. Terra Firma is an alliance political party formed after the First Contact War. Its policy agenda is based on the principle that Earth must stand firm against alien influences. This covers a variety of legislation. Recent activities by Terra Firma include opposition to a law requiring high school alien language study, a proposal to increase tariffs on alien imports, and leading a popular movement to mark the First Contact War with a public holiday. Who founded Though founded by well-meaning individuals who feared the submersion of native human cultures under a wave of alien vogue, Terra Firma's agenda attracts many jingoists and xenophobes. Will he ever shut up? No, he won't. He'll even radio me. Well, I study something. Timeline. I know that it's been in the past, but still I wanted to read that. Timeline. 2069, Armstrong Outpost at Shackleton Crater becomes the first human settlement on Luna. It is formally founded on July 24th, the 100th anniversary of the first lunar landing. 2103, Lowell City in Eos Chasma becomes the first human settlement on Mars. 2137, Eldfell Ashland Energy Corporation demonstrates helium-3 fuel extraction from the atmosphere of Saturn. 2142, construction of Gagarin Station, Jump Zero begins beyond the orbit of Pluto. 2148, prospectors discover the Prothean ruins at Promethea Planum on Mars. 2149, translation of Prothean data leads humans to the Chiron Mice Relay. Systems Alliance founded to coordinate the exploration and colonization of extrasolar worlds. 2151, a shipping accident at Singapore International Spaceport exposes downwind communities to container of dust form Element Zero. Alliance begins construction of Arcturus Station. 2152, roughly 30% of the children born in Singapore after Element Zero exposure suffer from cancerous growths. System Alliance begins settlement of Earth's first extrasolar colony world, the planet Demeter. 2154, Commander Shepard born. 2155, Systems Alliance occupies completed portions of Arcturus Station as a headquarters. 2156, some children of Singapore exhibit minor telekinetic abilities. 2157, Turians encounter human explorers. First contact, war, occupation and liberation of the human colony of Shanxi. 2158, humans learn potential of biotics. An international effort to track Element Zero exposures begins. Roughly 10% of exposed children show some level of biotic ability. 2160, Systems Alliance Parliament formed. 2165, humans establish embassy on Citadel. 2170, Batarian slavers attack the Alliance colony of Minduar. 2176, during the Skyllian Blitz, pirates and slavers attacked Elysium, the human capital in the Skyllian Verge. 2177, Thresher Moths devour the Alliance colony of Akuze. 2178, in retaliation for the Skyllian Blitz, an Alliance fleet wipes out an army of slavers on the moon of Torfan. 2183, Geth led by rogue Spectre Saren Arterius attacks Citadel, ensuing in a battle that costs thousands of lives. A few weeks later, the SSV Normandy is ambushed and destroyed. Commander Shepard is presumed dead. 2185, current date. Planets and locations. I think we read that. The Purgatory we also read. Vermeer. Vermeer is a lush world located on the frontier of the Attican Traverse. Its vast seas and orbital position on the inner life zone have created a wide equatorial band of humid tropical terrain. Only the political instability of the region has impeded efforts at colonization. Many times the Citadel has opened negotiations to settle Vermeer with the various criminal gangs and petty dictatorships in the nearby Terminus system. All fell apart due to internal power shifts within the opposing parties. The Citadel has written off the colonization of Vermeer as impossible without significant political change. The Terminus powers themselves are unlikely to ever settle Vermeer. Most lack the resources to support settlement of a virgin world, finding it more expedient to steal from their neighbors than build for themselves. Publications. Ascension. Written by human author Drew Karpyshyn, the popular military historical novel Ascension focuses on several lives warped or destroyed by the human survivalist cult Cerberus. Following the Citadel attack of 2182 and the accelerated rise of human influence in the galaxy, Cerberus instituted Ascension, a secret biotics program aimed at producing a superhuman warrior. Biotics prodigy Gillian Grayson a 12-year-old autistic girl suffered for the sins of her father, a secret Cerberus operative and resident addict. Paul Grayson was ensnared in a web of criminality involving a Quarian traitor and extending to Saren Arterius, the Geth, and a terminal threat to the Quarian flotilla. Having fled to the Terminus systems with his daughter after exposure of Cerberus linked to Ascension, Grayson was pursued by Gillian's teacher, scientist Kaylee Sanders, initiating a chain of tragedies that demonstrated Cerberus' nearly unlimited power and boundless ambition. Fornax. Launched in 2167, Fornax magazine described itself as the galaxy's finest xenophilia. By its 5th year, Fornax became the first human magazine to offer full-life sensory stimulation, a previously unaffordable magazine technology made profitable by the economy of scale. With a monthly publishing run of 127 million available in both in hard copy and direct download, Fornax offers a range of alien models with particular emphasis on the unisexual Asari, although both genders of Quarians, Drelbatarians and Volus are regularly depicted. Specialty editions such as Genit Elcor and Krogasm service devoted by a smaller market. Revelation is a popular military historical novel by human writer Drew Karpyshyn that dramatizes human conflicts and political expansion following the 2148 discovery of the Prothean mass relay on Pluto and the beginning of human galactic exploration. In 2165, years before his rise to political prominence, Lieutenant David Anderson was a young veteran of the Turian War investigating the destruction of top-secret military research station Shanxi. Every scientist stationed at Shanxi had been slaughtered except Kaylee Sanders, who disappeared with secret files, making her Anderson's prime suspect. The book traced Anderson's dangerous investigation of Sanders, which included run-ins with Blue Suns mercenaries and a Krogan bounty hunter. The investigation uncovered illegal research into AI and forced Anderson into an alliance with human-hating Turian Spectre Saren Arterius, who would eventually enter into a genocidal collaboration with the Geth. Ships and vehicles. A-61 Mantis gunship. The workhorse of mercenary bands throughout the galaxy, the Mantis is a two-man... Wait, we've read that. FTL drive. Faster-than-light drives use element zero cores to reduce the mass of the ship, allowing higher rates of acceleration. This effectively raises the speed of light within the mass effect field, allowing high-speed travel with negligible relativistic time dilation effects. Starships still require conventional thrusters, chemical rockets, commercial fusion torch, economy ion engine or military anti-proton drive, in addition to the FTL drive core. With only a core, a ship has no motive power. The amount of ESO and power required for a drive increases exponentially to the mass being moved and the degree it is being lightened. Very massive ships or very high speeds are prohibitively expensive. If the field collapses while the ship is moving at faster than light speed, the effects are catastrophic. The ship is snapped back to sublight velocity, the enormous excess energy shed in the form of lethal Cherenkov radiation. FTL drive appearance. New space travelers ask, what does it look like outside a ship moving at faster than light speed? Part of the answer can be seen in a simple pane of glass. Light travels slower through a glass than it does through open air. Light also moves slower in conventional space than it does in a high-speed mass effect field. This causes refraction. Any light entering at an angle is bent and separated into a spectrum. Objects outside the ships will appear refracted. The greater the difference between the objective exterior and subjective interior speeds of light, the greater the refraction. As the subjective speed of light is raised within the field, objects outside will appear to redshift, eventually becoming visible only to radio telescope antennae. High-energy electromagnetic sources normally hidden to the eye become visible in the high blue spectrum. As the speed of light continues to be raised, X-ray, gamma-ray and eventually cosmic ray sources become visible. Stars will be replaced by pulsars, the accretion disks, or of black holes, quasars and gamma-ray bursts. To an outside observer, a ship within a Mass Effect drive envelope appears blue shifted. If within a field that allows travel at twice the speed of light, any radiation it emits has twice the energy as normal. If the ship is in a field of about 200 times light speed, it radiates visible light as X-rays and gamma rays, and the infrared heat from the hull is blue shifted up into the visible spectrum or higher. Ships moving at FTL are visible at great distances, though their signature will only propagate at the speed of light. Yeah, but Fornix is a booba. FTL drive charge. As positive or negative electric current is passed through an FTL drive core, it acquires a static electrical charge. Drives can be operated an average of 50 hours before they reach charge saturation. This change is proportional to the magnitude of mass reduction. A heavier or faster ship reaches saturation more quickly. If the charge is allowed to build, the core will discharge into the hull of a ship. All ungrounded crew members are fried to a crisp, all electronic systems are burned out, and metal bulkheads may be melted and fused together. The safest way to discharge a core is to land on a planet and establish a connection to the ground, like a lightning rod. Larger vessels like dreadnoughts cannot land and must discharge into a planetary magnetic field. The ship passes the charge from the drive core to the exterior armored hull, then dives into the magnetic field. As the hull discharges, sheets of lightning jump away into the field, creating beautiful auroral display on the planet. The ship must retract its sensors and weapons while dumping charge to prevent damage, leaving it blind and helpless. Discharging at a moon with a weak magnetic field can take days. Discharging into the powerful field of gas giant may require less than an hour. Deep space facilities such as the Citadel often have special discharge facilities for visiting ships. Space combat, combat endurance. Heat limits the length and intensity of a ship-to-ship combat. Starships generate enormous heat when they fire high-energy weapons, perform maneuvering burns, and run on board combat electronics. In combat, warships produce heat more quickly than they can disperse it. As heat builds within a vessel, the crewed spaces become increasingly uncomfortable. Before the heat reaches lethal levels, the ship must win or retreat by entering FTL. After an FTL run, the ship halts, shuts down non-essential systems and activates the heat radiation gear. Combat endurance varies by ship design and by the battle's location. Battle in the deep cold of interstellar space can go on for some time. Engagement close to a star are brief. Since habitable worlds are usually close to a star, battles over them are frantic. General tactics, space combat. Shells lofted by surface navies crash back to Earth when their acceleration is overwhelmed by gravity and air resistance. In space, a projectile has unlimited range. It will keep moving until it hits something. Practical gunnery range is determined by the velocity of the attacker's ordnance and the maneuverability of the target. Beyond a certain range, a small ship's ability to dodge trumps a larger attacker's projectile speed. The longest range combat occurs between dreadnoughts, whose projectiles have the highest velocity but are the least maneuverable. The shortest range combat is between frigates, which have the slowest projectile velocities and highest maneuverability. Opposing dreadnoughts open with a main gun artillery duel at extreme ranges of tens or thousands of kilometers. The fleets close, maintaining evasive lateral motion while keeping their bow guns facing the enemy. Fighters are launched and attempt to close to disrupt their torpedo range. Cautious admirals weaken the enemy with ranged fire and fighter strikes before committing to close action. Aggressive commanders advance so cruisers and frigates can engage. At long range, the main guns of cruisers become useful. Friendly interceptors engage enemy fighters until the attackers enter the range of ship-based guardian fire. Dreadnoughts fire from the rear, screened by smaller ships. Commanders must decide whether to commit to a general melee or retreat into FTL. At medium range, ships can use broadside guns. Fleets intermingle and it becomes difficult to retreat in order. Ships with damaged kinetic barriers are vulnerable to Wolfpack brigade flotillas that speed through the battle space. Only fighters and frigates enter close knife fight ranges of 10 or fewer kilometers. Fighters lose their disruptor torpedoes, bringing down a ship's kinetic barriers and allowing it to be swarmed by frigates. Guardian lasers become viable weapons, swatting down fighters and boiling away warship armor. Neither dreadnoughts nor cruisers can use their main guns at close range. Laying the bow on a moving target becomes impossible. Superheated thruster exhaust becomes a hazard. Space combat planetary assaults. Planetary assaults are complicated if the target is a habitable garden world. The attackers cannot approach the defender straight on. The Citadel Conventions prohibit the use of large kinetic impactors against habitable world. In a straight-on attack, enemies plow into the planet behind the defending fleet. If the defenders position themselves between the attackers and the planet, they can fire at will, while the attacker risks hitting the planet. Successful assaults on garden worlds hinge upon up-to-date intelligence. Attackers need to determine where the enemy's defenses are, so they may approach from an angle that allows them to fire with no danger of collateral damage. But this is not necessary for hostile worlds. Once control of orbit has been lost, defensive garrisons disperse into the wilderness. An enemy with orbital superiority can bombard surface forces with impunity. The best option for defenders is to hide and collect reconnaissance in anticipation of relief forces. Given the size of a planet, it is impractical to garrison an entire conquered world. Fortunately, colonization efforts tend to focus on building up a dozen or fewer areas. Ground forces occupy the Space Force, industrial facilities and major population centers. The wilderness is patrolled by unmanned aerial vehicles and satellite reconnaissance. If a defender unit is spotted, air mobile, rapid deployment units and satellite artillery are used to pin down and destroy them. Space combat pursuit tactics. Dependent on light, sensors cannot detect objects moving at faster than light speeds. No ship can be detected at interstellar ranges. Detection at interplanetary ranges suffers from light speed lag. Observers see ships not where they appear to be, but where they were when the light bearing their image left them minutes, hours or days before. To counteract light speed lag, battle fleets surround themselves with spheres of screening and scouting frigates. Pursuers cannot detect ships and directly intercept them. Instead, pursuers track where objects were, where they were heading, and at what speed they were moving. Such data reliably predicts an object's future location and for pursuit along its light-legged wake. Ships trying to evade pursuit follow erratic zigzag courses, requiring pursuers to make stops to update their projections. Space combat trans-relay assaults. The crucial choice for any attack through mass relays is how to divide the fleet for transit. The accuracy of relay mass projection depends on the mass being moved and how far it's going. Any long distance and or high mass jump will see drift. That is, a ship may be hundreds or millions of kilometers from its intended drop point, in any direction from the relay. Distance can be chosen by admirals, but the relay is told how much mass to transit. For example, if told to move 1 million metric tons of mass, the relay will scan the approach corridor, find the 250,000 ton freighters and transit them together, maintaining their relative positions. A commander has the option of moving his fleet as one large, coherent formation that may be wildly off position, or breaking up into many smaller formations that will be individually closer to the intended attack point, but could be widely dispersed. Conservative assault doctrine holds that fleets should be moved en masse, maintaining concentration of force and reducing the chances of collision. The only time it is reasonable to split up a formation is during a blockade running. Starships, carriers. All races provide their fleets with organic fighter support. Cruisers fit a handful in the space between the interior pressure hulls and exterior armor. Dreadnoughts have a hangar deck within the hull. Humans who had only recently graduated from surface to space combat were the first to build ships wielding fighters as the main armament. In fleet combat, carriers stay clear of battle, launching fighters bearing disruptor torpedoes. Fighters are the primary striking power of the ship. If a carrier enters mass accelerator range of the enemy, things have gone very wrong. It is possible to recover and rearm fighters during combat, though most carriers seal the flight deck and try to stay out of the way. The flight deck is essentially a corridor through the armor and into the heart of the vessel. A single well-placed torpedo is enough to gut a carrier. Alliance carriers are named after great leaders, artists, and intellectuals from human history. Starships, crew considerations. Cabins give each individual 10 cubic meters of space. On larger vessels, private rooms are common. As the ship gets smaller, the number of crew packed into a single wardroom increases. Asari prefer shared spaces even on large vessels, while Krogan territorial instincts make it impossible for them to cohabitate even on the smallest ships. On smaller vessels, quad bunking is the norm. Crew members assigned to different watches share the same bunk. When one gets off duty, he wakes up the person in the bunk. While that crewman is on duty, the first gets his rag time. Spacecraft compartments can be isolated by airtight doors in case of decompression. The cinematic vision of explosive decompression is fiction. Cold compartments either take enough damage that occupants are killed instantly or leak slowly enough that they are able to reach protective gear. Compartments are equipped with emergency life support apparatus, fireproof plastic bubbles with air bottles. Small when stowed, LSA comfortably accommodates one individual when inflated. Damage control procedures cuts off ventilation to burning compartments. Without oxygen to consume, fires die in seconds. The compartment is repressurized afterwards for the crew recovery. Mass effect fields create an artificial gravity aircraft plane below the decks, preventing muscle atrophy and bone loss in zero-G. Large vessels arrange their decks perpendicular to their thrust axis. The highest decks are at the bow and the lowest at the engines. This allows grav to work with the inertial effects of thrust. Ships that can land arrange their decks laterally, so the crew can move about while the vessel is on the ground. Warships normally turn off their aircraft systems during combat, reducing the heat generated by systems and increasing combat endurance. To provide a point of reference for navigating in zero-G, floors are painted a different color from the walls and ceilings. Starships, cruisers. Cruiserweight starships are the standard combat unit encountered away from large naval bases, the poor bloody infantry of most fleets. Nimble scouting frigates have neither the punch nor the stamina to stand up to a serious combat, and the mighty dreadnoughts are a strategic resource carefully hoarded and committed to the most critical battles. Cruisers perform routine independent show the flag patrols in settled systems and lead flotillas of frigates in small engagements, such as pirate suppression campaigns. In major fleet engagements, cruiser squadrons support the dreadnought battle line by screening their flanks against enemies attempting to maneuver for a main gun bow shot from their vulnerable broadsides. Alliance cruisers are named after cities of Earth. Starships dreadnoughts. The ultimate arbiter of space warfare, the dreadnought employs millions of tons of metal, ceramic and polymer in the projection of firepower against an enemy vessel of like ability. No sane commander would face a dreadnought without a dreadnought of his or her own. A dreadnought's power lies in the length of its main gun. Dreadnoughts range from 800 meters to 1 kilometer long, with main guns of commensurate length. An 800-meter mass accelerator is capable of accelerating 120 kilogram slug to a velocity of 4,025 kilometers per second, 1.3% of light speed, every 2 seconds. Each slug has the kinetic energy of 38 kilotons of TNT, enough to destroy the infrastructure of a mid-sized city and kill 500,000 people. Because of air friction, planets with atmospheres do not feel the slug's full devastation. Atmospheric drag reduces impact force by 20% per Earth atmosphere of air. At present, the Turian fleet possesses 39 dreadnoughts, the Asari-20 and the Salarian 16. Each of the Human Alliance's 8 dreadnoughts is named for terrestrial mountains. Everest class, Everest, Fuji, Elbrus. Kilimanjaro class, Kilimanjaro, Taishan, Shasta, Aconcagua, Orizawa. Starships, fighters. Fighters are single-pilot combat small craft. They are lightweight enough that they can be economically fitted with a powerful element zero cores, making them capable of greater acceleration and sharper maneuvers than starships. Kinetic barrier shields change starship battles from short, vicious bloodbath to extended, indecisive slugging matches. Only the main gun of a dreadnought could punch a mass accelerator slug through the barriers of an opposing dreadnought. This changed with development of the fighter-launched mass disruptor torpedo, a short-ranged weapon that can penetrate kinetic barriers to destroy their projector assemblies. Starships' Guardian defenses must be overwhelmed through swarm tactics. Fighter groups can take heavy casualties pressing their torpedo attacks home. Once fighter-launched torpedoes have crippled an enemy's barriers, the mass accelerators on frigates and cruisers can make short work of them. Interceptors are a type of fighter optimized to attack other fighters with no ability to damage starships. Interceptors are used to screen friendly units from incoming fighter attacks. Starships, frigates. Frigates are light escorts and scouts, often possessing extensive guardian system providing anti-fighter screeners for capital ships, and crewed with a squad of marines for security and groundside duty. Unlike larger vessels, frigates can land on planets. The most important role filled by frigates is reconnaissance. Sensors, unlike ships and communications employing the mass effect, are limited to the speed of light, therefore a stationary observer can detect a vessel a light year away only when its light arrives a year later. Because faster-than-light attackers always arrive before defenders can detect them with luminal sensors, attackers can always surprise defenders. For defense, fleets surround themselves with spheres of scouting, frigates scanning for enemy ships and transmitting warnings to the main body. Frigates achieve high FTL cruise speeds because of their high-performance drives. They also have proportionally larger thrusters and lighter design mass, allowing them greater maneuverability. In combat, speed and maneuverability makes frigates immune to long-range fire of larger vessels. In fleet combat, frigates are organized into wolfpack flotillas of 4 to 6. Wolfpacks speed through enemy formations, hunting enemy vessels whose kinetic barriers have been taken down by fighter-launched disruptor torpedoes. Wolfpack circles strafes of vulnerable targets using superior speed and maneuverability to evade return fire. Alliance frigates are named for great battles in human history. Starships heat management. Dispersal of heat generated by onboard systems is a critical issue for a ship. If it cannot deal with heat, the crew may be cooked within the hull. Radiation is the only way to shed heat in a vacuum. Civilian vessels utilize large, fragile radiator panels that are impossible to armor. Warships use diffuse radiator arrays, DRA, ceramic strips along the exterior of the armored hull. These make the ship appear striped to thermographic sensors. Since the arrangement of the strips depends on the internal configuration of the ship, the patterns for each vessel are unique and striking. On older ships, the DRA strips could become red or white hot. Dubbed tiger stripes or war paint by humans, the glowing DRA had a psychological impact on pirates and irregular forces. Ship radiators are not as efficient as panels, but if damaged by enemy fire, the ship only loses a small portion of its total radiation capacity. In most cases, a vessel's DRA alone allows it to cruise with no difficulties. Operations deep within a solar system can cause problems. A ship engaged in combat can produce titanic amounts of heat from maneuvering burns and weapons fire. When fighting in a high heat environment, warships employ high-efficiency droplet heat sinks. In a droplet system, tanks of liquid sodium or lithium absorb heat within the ship. The liquid is vented from spray nozzles near the bow as a thin sheet of millions of micrometer-scale droplets. The droplets are caught at the stern and recycled into the system. A droplet system can sink 10 to 100 times as much heat as DRA strips. Droplet sheets resemble a surface ship wake through the water. The wake peels out in sharp turns, spreading a fan of droplets as the ship changes vectors and leaves the coolant behind. Starships sensors. Light lag prevents sensing in real time at great distances. A ship firing its thrusters at the Charon relay can be easily detected from Earth 5.75 light hours, 6 billion kilometers away, but Earth will only see the event 5 hours and 45 minutes after it occurs. Due to the light speed limit, defenders can't see enemies coming until they have already arrived. Because there is FTL travel and communications but no FTL sensors, frigates are crucial for scouting and picad duties. Passive sensors are used for long-range detection, while active sensor obtains short-range, high-quality targeting data. Passive sensors include visual, thermographic, and radio detectors that watch and listen for objects in space. A powered ship emits a great deal of energy, the heat of the life support systems, the radiation given off by power plants and electrical equipment, and the exhaust of the thrusters. Starships stand out plainly against the near absolute zero background of space. Passive sensors can be used during FTL travel, but incoming data is significantly distorted by the effects of the mass effect envelope and Doppler shift. Active sensors are radars and high-resolution laser detection and ranging that emit a ping of energy and listen for return signals. Radars have a narrowed field of view than LiDAR, but LiDAR resolution allows images of detected objects to be assembled. Active sensors are useless when a ship is moving at FTL speeds. Starship thrusters. The Mass Effect drive core decreases the mass of a bubble of space-time around the ship. This gives the ship the potential to move quickly, but does not apply any motive power. Ships use their sublight thrusters for motive power at FTL. There are several varieties of thruster, varying in performance versus economy. All ships are equipped with arrays of hydrogen-oxygen reaction-controlled thrusters for maneuvering. Ion drives electrically accelerate charging particles as a reaction mass. They are extremely efficient but produce negligible thrust. They are mainly used for automated cargo barges. The primary commercial engine is a fusion torch, which vents the plasma of the ship's power plant. Fusion torches offer powerful acceleration at the cost of difficult heat management. Torch fuel is fairly cheap, helium-3 skimmed from gas giants and deuterium extracted from seawater or cometary bodies. Propellant is hydrogen, likewise skimmed from gas giants. In combat, military vessels require accelerations beyond the capability of fusion torches. Warship thrusters inject anti-protons into a reaction chamber filled with hydrogen. The matter-antimatter annihilation provides unmatched motive power. The drawback is fuel production. Anti-protons must be manufactured one particle at a time. Most antimatter production is done at massive solar arrays orbiting energetic stars, making them high-value targets in wartime. The exhaust of fusion and anti-proton drives is measured in millions of degrees Celsius. Any vessel caught behind them will melt like wax in a blowtorch. Any long-duration interstellar flight consists of two phases, acceleration and deceleration. Starships accelerate to the halfway point of their journey, then flip 180 degrees and apply thrust on the opposite vector, decelerating as they finish the trip. The engines are always operating, and peak speeds is attained on the middle of the flight. Weapons, ablative armor. A warship's kinetic barriers reduce the damage from solid objects but can do nothing to block guardian lasers, particle beams and other forms of directed energy weapon. DEW. The inner layer of warship protection consists of ablative armor plate designed to boil away when heated. The vaporized armor material scatters a DEW beam, rendering it ineffectual. A scaffold is built around the interior pressure hull with sheets of ablative armor hung from the structure. Ships typically have multiple layers of armor separated by empty baffles, spaces often used for cargo storage. Cruisers, which lack the internal space to fit dedicated lighter fighter hangars, store the shipboard fighter complement in the baffles. It is not unknown for enlisted crew to build illicit alcohol distilleries in some obscure corner of the baffles, safe from prying eyes. People one time. I hope we're close to the end. Weapons, disruptor torpedoes. Disruptor torpedoes are powered projectiles with warheads that create random and unstable mass effect fields when triggered. This field warps space-time in localized areas. The rapid asymmetrical mass changes cause the target to rip itself apart. In flight, torpedoes use a mass-increasing field, making them too huge for enemy kinetic barriers to repel. Because extra mass retards acceleration, Torpedoes are easy prey for defensive Guardian weapons and must therefore be launched at extremely close range to be effective. To prevent damage to the parent craft, torpedoes must be pole-launched, meaning they are released before their thrusters ignite. Aligning with its target trajectory, a fighter releases a torpedo and immediately thrusts away, while the torpedo continues to coast towards its target. After the fighter is clear, no more than a second after launch, the torpedo activates its mass effect and its mass field and thrusters away from the fighter and towards its target. Torpedoes are the main anti-ship weapon used by fighters. Launched at a point-blank range in ripple fire waves, they're reminiscent of the ancient Calliope rocket artillery launchers, thus their popular nickname Callies. By saturating defensive Guardian systems with multiple targets, at least a few torpedoes will get through. Weapons Guardian. A Ship General Area Defense Integration anti-spacecraft network, Guardian consists of anti-missile, anti-fighter laser turrets on the exterior hull. Because these are under computer control, the gunnery control officer needs to do little beyond turn the system on and designate targets as hostile. Since lasers move at light speed, they cannot be dodged by anything moving at non-relativistic speeds. Unless the beam is aimed poorly, it will always hit its target. In the early stages of a battle, the Guardian fire is 100% accurate. It is not 100% lethal, but it doesn't have to be. Damaged fighter must break off for repairs. Lasers are limited by diffraction. The beam spreads out, decreasing the energy density watts per square meter the weapon can place on a target. Any high-powered laser is a short-ranged weapon. Guardian networks have another limitation: heat. Weapon-grade lasers require cool-down time, during which it is transferred to sinks or radiators. As lasers fire, heat builds within them, reducing damage, range and accuracy. Fighters attack in swarms. The first few will be hit by Guardian, but as battle continues, the effect of laser overheat allows the attackers to press ever closer to the ship. Constant use will burn out a laser. Guardian lasers typically operate in infrared frequencies. Shorter frequencies would offer superior stopping power and range, but degradation of focal arrays and mirrors would make them expensive to maintain, and most prefer mechanical reliability over bleeding-edge performance where lives are concerned. Solarians, however, use near-ultraviolet frequency lasers with 6 times the range, believing that having additional time to shoot down incoming missiles is more important. Lasers are not blocked by any kinetic barriers or capital ships. However, the range of lasers limits their use to rare knife fight, range ship combat. Weapons Javelin. The Javelin is an experimental close assault weapon fitted on a handful of newer Alliance warships. It consists of a rack of 2 or more disposable disruptor torpedo tubes bolted or magnetically slung into the exterior of ship armor's hull. Fired on converging trajectories, the torpedoes detonate in a precisely timed sequence that allows the warhead's dark energy to resonate and thereby magnify the resulting space-time warp effects. Like fighter-launched torpedoes, javelins are called launched for safety reasons, though they use a different approach. Resembling old-fashioned submarine torpedo tubes, javelin torpedoes come packed in individual sealed tubes filled with compressed inert gas. Opening the front of the tube causes escaping gases to push the torpedo into a vacuum, releasing a puff of crystals around the mouth of the tube. After completely clearing the tube, the torpedo ignites its thrusters. Javelin mounts are most often fitted on swift frigates, which enter knife-fight torpedo ranges as a matter of course. Javelins may also be fitted on heavier ships for short-range engagements, such as trans-relay assaults. They are particularly useful in this role for Dreadnought, which cannot lay their main guns on close-range targets. As missile weapons, javelins are subject to highly accurate defensive Guardian fire. They must be launched in large numbers and at short range to have any chance of hitting their target at all. Special vehicles: the Hammerhead, M44 Hammerhead. The M44 Hammerhead infantry fighting vehicle is a highly maneuverable Mass Effect assisted armored vehicle. Using the 3 solid fuel rocket thrusters instead of wheels, the Hammerhead hovers over the battlefield at up to 120 kilometers per hour, allowing it to maintain formation with swift armored units, skim across calm waters, and even leap terrain obstacles. Backup microboosters guarantee locomotion, though even destruction of 2 main thrusters leave the vehicle capable of full mobility. The Hammerhead retains most features of interplanetary fighting vehicles: an airtight interior, 360-degree kinetic barriers, and a guided missile system ensuring accuracy during even aggressive maneuvering. Its electronic countermeasures extend to laser detection, chaff, active thermal masking, and ground-penetrating weapons sniffer radar. The Hammerhead's navigation control emulates that of tanks, so tank drivers can operate Hammerheads without additional training. Factory issue Hammerheads therefore have no altimeter or similar sensors and are best used at the standard cruising altitude 2 meters off the ground. Technology. Argus Planet Scan Technology. The Argus provides a qualitative leap in the planetary surface imaging, a proprietary technology of the Android Group and RRD laboratory reportedly owned by Cerberus. This upgrade for Normandy's sensor array delivers superior long-range topographical scanning resolution and rendering speed. By deploying an orbital multi-static grid of 100 radar-emitting microsatellites, the Argus quickly delivers a global digital elevation model, DEM, at 15 meters per pixel MPP resolution, vastly outclassing the Normandy's previous scanner peak performance of 27 MPP. Such imaging quality provides superior defensive intelligence and at speed warranted by the dangers of combat. At slower scanning and rendering speed, the Argus can resolve down to an astonishing 0.001 MPP, 1 millimeter per pixel, ideal for geological and biological prospecting, archaeological research, and long-term security surveillance. By employing such a massive multi-static grid of nearly untraceable micro-emitters, the resilient Argus is virtually invulnerable to electronic countermeasures. The spherical geometry of the Argus grid also allows superior cross-section of targets. And people. People. Biotics, biotic amps. Biotics manipulate Mass Effect fields using dozens of element zero nodules within their nervous systems that react to electric stimuli from the brain. Amplifiers allow biotics to increase the nodules so they can form fields large and strong enough for practical use. Amplifiers can improve a specific discipline or talent. An implant is a surgically embedded interface port into which amps are plugged in. On humans, the implant is usually placed at the base of the skull for convenient access, though the user must be careful to keep it free of contaminants. Implant ports can fit a variety of amps, and there is a growing market for modifications and add-ons. The finest quality implants and amps are manufactured by Asari artisans, but the Alliance's L3 implants, first deployed in 2170, are a significant step forward. Biotics. Life as a biotic. Biotics possess extraordinary abilities, but they must live with minor inconveniences. The most obvious issue is getting adequate nutrition. Creating biotic Mass Effects takes such a toll on metabolism that active biotics develop ravenous appetites. The standard Alliance combat ration for a soldier is 3,000 calories per day. Biotics are given 4,500, as well as a canteen of potent energy drink for a quick refreshment after hard combat. Another issue is electric charge. Electricity accumulated in Starship drive cores must be discharged, and so must the electricity in a biotic user. Biotics are prone to small static discharges when they touch metal. Unfortunately, human biotics also face suspicion and persecution, beginning with the popular misconception that they can read and control mind. Biotics symbolize the dehumanization of mankind to people philosophically or religiously opposed to gene modification and cybernetics. Militaries are the only organizations that always welcome biotics, offering them huge recruitment incentives. Biotics training. Biotic implants and amplifiers only provide the potential to create coherent mass effect fields. Whether biotics can actually do so is largely determined by their training. Biotics must develop conscious control over their nervous systems, sending specific electrical impulses to the element zero nodules embedded in their nerves. They are taught to use their implants and amps with biofeedback devices and physical mnemonics. Specific gestures or muscle movements fire the proper sequence of nerves to activate a certain skill. Konetic Industries pioneered biotic training with the Biotic Acclimation and Temperance Training Program. Although BAAT did not achieve the desired results, many techniques taught are still used today. Many human think tanks are trying to develop some form of biotic super soldier. Most are benign efforts to create more flexible troops. Other less publicly known and are unapologetic attempts to create Nietzsche in Superman. Communications. Real-time communication is possible thanks to networks of expensive mass relay comm buoys that can daisy chain a transmission via lasers. Comm buoys are maintained in patterns built outward from each mass relay. The buoys are little more than a cluster of primitive miniature mass relays. Each individual buoy is connected to a partner or on another buoy in the network, forming a corridor of low mass space. Tight beam communications lasers are piped through these tubes of FTL space, allowing virtually instantaneous communication anywhere on the network. The networks connect across regions by communications laser through the mass relay. With this system, the only communications delay is the light lag between the source or destination and the closest buoy. So long as all parties remain within half a light second, 150,000 kilometers of buoys, seamless real-time communications are possible. These buoys are maintained in all traveled areas, most enjoy unlimited instant communication. Ships only suffer communications lag when operating off established deep space routes around uninhabited outer system gas giants and other unsettled areas. During wartime, comm buoys networks are the first target of attack. Once the network is severed, it can take anywhere from weeks to years to get a message out of a contested system. In a system where a buoy network has not yet been built or has been destroyed, rapid communication means ferrying information through high-speed courier ships and unmanned data drone. Mail pigeons. Communications administration. While comm buoys allow rapid transmission, there is an infinite amount of bandwidth available. Even the trillions of people may be trying to pass messages through a given buoy at any one time. Access to the network is parceled out on priority tiers. The Citadel Council and the Spectres have absolute priority. If they are using all the bandwidth, everyone else must wait. Individual governments and their militaries enjoy the next highest tier. During wartime, civilian communication can suffer hours or even days of lag. Intelligence agencies study ping time through various systems to predict military buildups. Below the governments and militaries, bandwidth priority is sold to the highest bidder. Media conglomerates, particularly headline news networks, purchase higher priority to provide their viewers with timely information. Corporations that requires timely information and response capability, for example financial institutions and investment firms, also invest heavily in priority access. The funds acquired through sales of bandwidth are used to maintain and expand the communications infrastructure. While everyone with a computer has guaranteed free and unlimited access to the galactic extranet, they are last line for bandwidth and may have to wait for their request to be processed. Bandwidth resale corporations use investment capital to purchase blocks of high priority access made available by paid subscription. Communications methodology. As the population of the galaxy increases and new worlds are settled, timely access for home users and frontier settlements with underdeveloped communication infrastructures is a growing problem. To ameliorate bandwidth issues, a sophisticated array of data caches and virtual intelligence search engine programs are available. When a user submits a query, It is first routed to the data cache on their colony or star system. At the cache, the user's search agent VI collates mountains of locally stored data to find the desired material. If the information is not available locally, the query is passed along to neighboring systems, and then outward in an expanded network. VI search agents in those systems replicate the search. If the desired information is found, it is compressed into a burst file and queued for transmission to the source system. The burst is assigned a priority based on the number of queries for it. The greater the number of queries, the higher the priority. When a new solar system is first connected to the net, a selection of the most popular data is installed locally. Though storage hardware is cheap, the capacity required to hold all the data produced every day by trillions of people on hundreds of worlds is not trivial. It's not economical to store local copies of all the data available on obscure topics just in case. As colonials mature, older and less popular chunks of data filter into them as a result of queries and are placed in the local archive. Searches for obscure topics are increasingly likely to produce instant results as the archive grows. Computers Artificial Intelligence (AI). An artificial intelligence is a self-aware computing system capable of learning and independent decision-making. Creation of a conscious AI requires adaptive code, a slow, expensive education, and a specialized quantum computer called a blue box. An AI cannot be transmitted across a communication channel or computer network. Without its blue box, an AI is no more than a data file. Loading these files into a new blue box will create a new personality, as variations in the quantum hardware and runtime results create unpredictable variation. The Geth serve as a cautionary tale against the dangers of rogue AI, and in Citadel space they are technically illegal. Advocacy groups argue, however, that an AI is a living, conscious entity deserving the same rights as organic. They argue that continued use of the term artificial is institutionalized racism on the part of organic life. The term synthetic is considered the politically correct alternative. David, we're only at the letter C. Computers Haptic Adaptive Interface. Advances in computing have done away with traditional input devices like keyboards. Instead, modern input peripherals are usually holographically displayed in front of the user at height and angle for ergonomic ease. Machines that use this interface detect a user through a microframe chip in the user's glove that keys in to the computer. Once the user is accepted, motion accelerometers in the user's glove match his hand's location with that of a proportionate but smaller mirror set of controls inside the computer itself. As the user presses against the holographic field, force feedbacks in the glove kicks in, giving a slight resistance. A person can then feel his way through using a touch screen that isn't actually there. A simple toggle switch on the back of the hands allows the gloves to be turned off when not in use. Haptic interfaces have become so common that some individuals undergo cybernetic enhancement surgery to have the accelerometers implanted in their fingertips. Going bare skin is the sign of a committed computer user who no longer has to fuss with putting on gloves or cleaning them with alcohol wipes to get rid of the clammy hand smell. Computers Virtual Intelligence. A virtual intelligence is an advanced form of user interface software. VIs use a variety of methods to simulate natural conversation, including an audio interface and an avatar personality to interact with. Although if VI can provide a convincing emulation of sentience, they are not self-aware, nor can they learn or take independent action. VIs are used as operating systems on commercial and home computers. Minimal VI agents are also available. Agents are compact and specialized. Some serve as personal secretaries, filtering calls and scheduling meetings based on user-defined priorities. Others are advanced search engines propagating themselves across the extranet to collate user-requested data. Commercial VIs in a variety of stock personalities are available at any software retailer. Boutique firms and hobbyists also build unique VIs to personnel specifications. Although software emulation of living personality is illegal, reconstructions of famous historical figures are common. Credits. Creds. The standard credit was established by the Citadel's Unified Banking Act as the currency of interstellar trade. The credit has a managed floating exchange rate, calculated in real time by the central bank to maintain the average value of all participating currencies. Some regional currencies are worth more than a credit and some less. Hard currency can be stolen or counterfeited, so electronic fund transfers are the norm. More importantly, physical transactions cannot be easily tracked, making them ideal for tax evasion or the purchase of illegal goods. When the Alliance joined the Citadel, its various national treasuries were linked into the credit network. A human with a bank account of Mexican pesos, Japanese yen, or Indian rupees can purchase any item priced in credits at fair market value. All economies that participate in the credit network are requested to price items in both local currency and credits. Drones. Drones are small robots used to support and supplement organic soldiers on the battlefield. They have no artificial intelligence of any kind, but follow fixed, minimally adaptive programs. Most varieties employ mass effect limitations to improve mobility. All modern armies rely on veritable fleets of drones for routine soldiering, static garrisons, patrols, etc. The use of drones in non-critical duties keeps manpower needs down and reduces casualties in low-intensity conflicts. Less advanced races and cultures with less sensitivity to casualties have correspondingly fewer drones in their inventory. Drones are of little use in conventional open-field battle, as they are poorly armed and armored. In addition to combat drones, support drones are used to assist organic units in the field. Reconnaissance drones are small, stealthy craft that bring combat units in the field and warn commanders when enemies are spotted. Electronic warfare drones supplement battlefield technicians, serving as mobile jammers and elite electronic intelligence gathering platforms. Military and civilian police utilize Dazzler drones, equipped with a powerful strobe light to disorient and subdue intruders using non-lethal force. Drone formations are officially referred to as wings. INA deploy the 4th Assault Drone Wing on the left flank. Common soldiers often refer to friendly formations as flocks and enemy formations as swarms. Security mech. The death of thousands of security and military personnel in the Battle of the Citadel was a loss felt throughout the galaxy. As a large number of qualified personnel transferred to the Citadel to replace those that died, short-handed security companies filled out their numbers with large-scale use of unmanned security robots. Commonly referred to as mechs, the security robots are typically grounded into light and heavy varieties. Light mechs come in a variety of sizes but are easily distinguished by opposable digits that help them in their versatile security roles. Heavy mechs lack digits and are simply weapon platforms intended to keep the peace in high-threat areas. The quadrupedal dog mech has a face composed of contraband detector sensors, and it too is armed in case of perpetrator resists arrest. A typical security mech has an extremely limited virtual intelligence. Its duty is straightforward and narrow, usually to guard an area, run a friend or foe program to halt unauthorized access, and fire a set of pre-recorded voice commands to warn troublemakers away from the area. Light security mechs are equipped with irritant sprays and electroshockers to force compliance, and heavy mechs can be outfitted with flashbang stunners for similar purposes. When facing an opponent armed with a firearm, any mech will immediately resort to lethal anti-personnel weapons to neutralize the threat. If the situation turns violent rapidly enough, it may not even use its warning. Security mechs are frowned upon for actual military duty. Though tough enough to survive most firefights, their VI simply does not have the programming to plan an ambush, rescue a hostage, treat a wound, or any of countless other objectives that a soldier must be able to perform on the fly. the master thief Kazumi's secret. Grey boxes. A mnemonic neural recall stimulator, also known as Greybox, is a device implanted in the brain to assist and prioritize memory. Originally developed to slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease, Greyboxes function by helping the amygdala chunk incoming stimuli in recognizable pieces for memory consolidation. Each memory is assigned a shape or sensation from other memories, tying the concepts together into a block that is more easily recalled. When Synthetic Insights first released them onto the market in 2140, Greyboxes were held as a way humans could level the playing field between themselves and the Solarians, whose natural eidetic memories gave them an advantage. However, because the implant procedure of a Greybox requires the brain irreversibly shift its workload over to the machine, software bugs or attempted removal of the Greybox for maintenance purposes could lead to incapacitating brain damage. For this reason, Greyboxes soon became used only by those with a dire need for photographic memories, such as researchers and spies. In 2175, sale and implantation of Greyboxes were outlawed by the Systems Alliance following an incident with Abraham Rumoy, an employee of the Alliance intelligence agency. Rumoy was believed to be a professional conman and thief named Keiji Okuda, who accessed and sold classified data. However, prosecuting attorneys were unable to use his assisted memories as evidence due to the Alliance court system's prohibitions against self-incrimination based on the Fifth Amendment of the old US Constitution. Rumoy soon disappeared off the map following his trial, further heightening suspicions that he was Okuda and living off of ill-gotten gains. When found outside a human head, Greyboxes are usually accessed with a specialized reader. A separate decryption key is almost always required, as users with data sensitive enough to require a Greybox invariably install their own encryption. We have a side quest. Packages for Ish. Packages are near Marab's shop on the Citadel and Eternity on Ilium. Let's go and search for Marab.
Let be. I want the strongest thing you have.
Easy enough.
It's green.
And guaranteed to knock you on your ass. Unless you're Dexter DNA like me. If you are, it'll kill you. Anything else?
Let's have another one.
Here you are. Anything else?
Not done yet.
I'm impressed. I've never seen anyone drink 3 of these. Anything else?
I'm done for now.
All right.
Right, bro, let's find this Marab shop.
Haven't seen a weapon like that in ages.
The Turian government is considering further reparations to humans whose ancestors died in the Relay 314 incident at Shnashi. The Turian government previously made reparations from what humans call the First Contact War, but refused to pay interest. The Turian hierarchy has supported improved relations with humanity since the Alliance's heroic sacrifice.
This is depressing. How about we find a Turian and beat the crap out of him? That always makes you feel better.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the...
Welcome. This is the Zakera Ward Transportation Hub. Public shuttles and shopping are available through the C-Sec security cordon.
That's all for now.
Thank you for using Avina. Have a pleasant day.
I hear this is the best place for food on Zakera Ward.
You heard wrong. This is the best place for food on the whole damn Citadel.
Salvage operations on the Salahil system have been cleared. Operations had previously been halted after Geth activity in the area. The prison ship Purgatory has been destroyed following an apparent riot. Security ships are en route to the area to retrieve prisoners and guards from life pods.
Oh, we made it to the news.
Greetings, EarthClan. You will find many excellent ships for sale here. Only slightly used, yes.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Subject: Ento Bechtal. Ento Bechtal is a member of the criminal organization headed up by Arya T'Loak, often considered for the Pirate Queen of Omega. While Arya's gang is mostly airtight, Ento has an eye toward outside work. Whether this is an exploitable hole, we are not sure. This is Arya T'Loak after all. I like this symbol here. Deliver package to Omega. Right, let's deliver it. We didn't have any unique cutscene right now. I'm Commander Shepard.
Certa Foundation is likely to close by the end of this fiscal year. The Foundation never recovered from a deadly attack by biotic extremists on one of its medical centers 2 years ago.
Shepard, it's been 2 years since you had a job. Isn't it time you rectified that?
Strange. Everybody knows that Shepard is working for Cerberus in, well, aside from this ad that tells me that we haven't been employed for 2 years. Damn it, I forgot to buy Master Thief. Oh, I can undo points. Good. We go for recharge time.
Hello again, my friends. Please tell me you have something for me.
Have you seen what's in these packages?
Why? Did you find something untoward? Certainly nothing worth getting worked up about.
This information could weaken Arya's organization. You better be sure it's safe before you take it anywhere.
I'm touched. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Shall we get back to business?
Why do you want information about one of Arya's men?
It's not for me. A lot of people want a leg up on Arya, and they'll pay a lot of credits to get it. If Onto or Arya found out, I'd be ruined. Or killed.
Arya will find out what you're up to, Ish. I don't envy you when that happens.
I think I can handle it.
No one has beaten Arya in centuries. When she casts down your clients, she'll come looking for you.
You're right. I have to get out of here. Thank you, my friend. You probably just saved my life. Come on, Sal. We have to get out of here.
We've got some credits.
Got something to report?
I'll just be going.
Keep up the good work.
Alright, that's gonna do it for tonight. I thank everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this listening of mine. Of my reading. And let's see if there is anybody out there to be rated out to. Oh well. There's only Punky Fish there. Well, there are other streamers, but they're probably too popular to even see that I'm rating them. Right, we're rating out to Punky Fish. He's playing Subnautica Below Zero. I thank you again everyone for watching. Hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Wish you good nights, sweet dreams. And please give some love to Punky Fish. He's playing Subnautica Below Zero. And until next time everyone, bye!